Hi, my name's Evan George, and I play the drums.
I'm Jason Abbott, and I play lead guitar.
I'm Ariel Deonda and I play rhythm guitar.
I'm Tristan Stone and I sing and rap and play guitar and I've been practicing Mozart and we are
Annihilate!
Hi, I'm Diane, and this is Yesterday's News. We are sitting here with a band from the Seattle area called Annihilate. They just put out their first new album, and we're going to get to know the band so you guys can get to know them and find their music. So, guys, what brought you to music?
Um, I would say I owe it all to my parents. My parents are both heavily into music, and they pretty much taught me all of the great bands from like the 70s and on. Hey, buddy. And kind of just got my start in music through listening to my dad play.
It's kind of the same for me. Listening to my dad listened to a lot of classic rock. My mom listened to a lot more like alternative and more recent stuff. And then I don't know. I guess I just kind of found my own taste, and then kind of went from there.
Yeah, ever since I was a little kid, I was always into music, always dancing, singing. I started playing guitar when I was 7, so it's always been a part of my life. Always trying to find new music, trying to find new art that inspires me. So music was always just such a natural choice for me as a path to go down in life.
I've always kind of been inseparable from music. I would sing and like Tom Petty, like as soon as I could talk, I was singing. Even probably when I wasn't able to talk, I was still singing stuff, just like trying to mimic things. And yeah, I guess a lot like parents and grandparents would be big influence on the choices musically that I've made. And yeah,
So, how long have you guys been together?
uh, or
Well,
About 4-ish years for us three.
Yeah.
yeah, me, Evan, and Jason. Like the first thing we did as a band was senior year in high school. We did a thing called Inspiration Night where we took a bunch of different Rage Against the Machine songs and mashed them all together. But then I wrote my own stuff to it, and it was really cool. But like I remember that night, we were all hanging out afterwards, and we were like, we should probably do something like actually make an album out of this and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, so like four years so far, I think, something like that.
Me and Evan have been playing together since like me and Evan have been playing together since like freshman year, and then we started playing with he started playing with Tristan, and I would play bass with them, and yeah, and then like Tristan said, like a year later, our senior year, that's when this whole project kind of started. But it was under a different name, and it was kind of like a different style. It was all just strictly rap rock, and then after that, we kind of just went in a different direction by trying to go in like a bunch of different directions, and just trying to a bunch of different stuff. And then we met Ariel, and
Can I say a bit?
yeah,
Cool. A story that I always love telling is that since all these guys are a few years older than me, I always looked up to them when I was a kid because me and my group of friends, we were all musicians and they were all a few years older than us. We would always look up to them because we thought they kicked ass at music. And finally, I started doing this program called Running Start, where you basically go to community college for your last 2 years of high school. And then there, Jason and I got close, and we started playing music together, um, like performances at school and stuff, and just hanging out, talking about music, all that good stuff. And then this year, back in I don't know, probably the beginning of like, well, maybe September of last year or something, they asked me to join originally as a live member, which I was super excited about, but it just sort of naturally morphed to a writing position in the band. So
Now,
that's my bit.
I want to point out we are missing one member today. Can you guys tell us about the member that we're missing today?
Oh man.
Yeah, here, I'll let you handle that.
Hayden Lilac is our bass player. He is one of the best bass players we ever met. Um, we had the hardest time finding someone to play bass. And we actually put out a Craigslist ad,
yeah,
and he responded to it, and we were like, okay. We had him in for like a jam / audition, and he just blew us away. He knew our songs. One of the funniest guys we've ever met, and one of the best musicians we've ever met. So we're very lucky to have him. Unfortunately, he's not here right now. But yeah, you'll be seeing a lot from him in the future.
Great. So, You guys did your first official show after your album release, and it'll be about 2 weeks Friday.
Mhm.
You guys had an amazing crowd, packed that place. I don't think I've ever seen a venue that packed for a relatively new band that's just put out their first album. I mean,
Wow.
what was that experience like for you guys?
Oh
It
man.
was unreal. Like, I don't know, it didn't really hit me until like a week afterwards how crazy it was. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
for me, I went to go get on stage and I just looked out and saw all those familiar faces and I was like, I don't know. I was blown away by the support that we got for our first show. It was just great. I mean, and it just made me excited to play more shows in the future. They're just going to get bigger and better than that, hopefully. So, yeah. Anything else?
You want to say anything, Jason?
I thought it was awesome. It was familiar faces for Evan, but it was a lot of unfamiliar faces, and it was awesome
Yeah.
that many people I didn't know wanted to come, and people like that didn't even weren't coming to the event. Like I had a really drunk guy come up to me afterwards, and he was like, "Man, I was at the bar, and I noticed everybody was piling out of there, and I was like, what's going on?" And it was because you guys are on stage, and it was really cool that like people gained interest just from being there, not even coming to see us and stuff. So it was awesome. And shout out to the other bands too.
Insinuators,
Yeah, Insinuators and
Sky Colony.
yeah, Sky Colony. And I'd also like to say that the show was just the best experience of my life. It was so incredible. Just going up there and doing what we love and having so many people actively showing their support, actively letting us know that they are fans of what we do and they want to continue supporting us in our musical journey. So hopefully we can just do it for the rest of our lives and not have to worry about much else.
Now, did you guys, now that you've had a little time between the show and kind of to absorb it all, did you learn anything about yourselves as musicians or in your own personal from being on the stage and that performance? Did it kind of help you reflect your music or?
I definitely. So I think it's pretty standard. We were all nervous before the show. It's our first show. We've never really performed in front of that kind of caliber of audience. And what I learned is that when it comes time to do what we have to do, we're all like, I don't know. It just felt like we were more experienced than we actually were, and we kind of were just. I hate to say it, but we were kind of just pros about it and kind of got up there, knew that we can do it, and the nerves just went away right from there. So it kind of taught me that I'm a very capable musician along with all these other fellas. And when the time comes, just go up there and kill it.
Yeah, and I would also like to say that we were incredibly well rehearsed for the show. We put in countless hours this summer, hundreds and hundreds of hours this summer, just at our rehearsal space in Everett, where we've just been writing and rehearsing everything to the point where all the songs that we played pretty much were just second nature by the time we actually got to the performance. So I think if the performance taught me anything, that it is that all that hard work really paid off, and that if I continue putting the same amount of effort into this music project, it's just going to keep on being successful as long as we actively work towards that.
Right, and I was there, so I can give my firsthand account. During the very first song, you guys seemed a little nervous. By second of not so bad. Third, you guys just kind of just totally lit up, and you were just so relaxed, and I could tell that you guys came prepared for your show, and the fans could tell, and I think that the new fans you're gaining from that as well really appreciated the fact that you guys showed up ready and knew kind of what you were doing, and it wasn't like you're just kind of like a practice band. You were ready and prepared for it, and that was a really cool experience to see that. You know, I wasn't expecting to be so blown away by your show, but
Thank you so much.
It's a really great thing to see that it can come out of that. I mean, for a relatively new band, and it's super cool, and I'm seeing that with a few other new bands I've been keeping an eye on, that people are coming prepared and they're coming ready and they're writing great music. And you guys have this music sound that it's kind of hard to explain. I tell people it's an alternative, it's a rock, it's got some blues, it's got some rap.
Yeah.
How would you describe your music to a fan who's not heard you before?
It's kind of like I like to call it emo reggae. It's kind of like it's like the sadness of like emo stuff, and then the happiness of reggae. Like right in between, there's like this equilibrium. It's like this sweet spot between Simple Plan and Bob Marley, and it works out so well.
Oh God. That's actually our hardest question that we ever get is like describe your band's sound. I guess we pride ourselves on not having a sound yet. As you said, we're relatively new and we're exploring what works, what doesn't work. We see what songs people gravitate to and we're kind of focusing on making more of those. So like there's more I guess hits you may say. But I would say we're a little bit of everything, but nothing you've really heard before.
And that's cool because it gives a little bit of something unique, but then
Mhm.
you're still finding yourself. So you guys be prepared that the sound's going to evolve.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's cool because there are bands that kind of get stuck in that sound, the same sound every album, and it's cool to evolve and it's cool to have something unique. And you guys will get there and have something that is your sound. But I mean, I don't think I've heard a band that sounds really like you guys. So to me, already
Thank
you've got a unique sound, which is
Thank
it's
you
not
so
a negative
much.
thing. It's a
Yeah.
unique. It's really enjoyable, and so it has you guys already have something that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. So growing up, what was your favorite album?
Okay.
Growing up,
Yeah, like out of your all-time favorite, do you have an album that just
I
kind of
got-
sticks out as still your favorite, or do you have like your first favorite album, something that kind of?
Tough.
I'll just go down the
The
line.
Van Halen.
Oh no way! Here, we'll start with you. We'll start with you.
This isn't necessarily my favorite album, but it was right over there, and I love this album. Van Halen's definitely my favorite band, and this album is really cool. It's called Fair Warning, and there's a lot of good guitar stuff on there. I don't know about growing up. Well, Tom Petty's greatest hits. I really liked the Linkin Park album Meteora for a long time. And then, like, as of right now, my favorite albums are probably the first Van Halen album and MM Food by MF Doom. So there's a rock and then there's a rap album for me.
For me, it's really difficult to pinpoint just one favorite album from my childhood. But one album that has always stuck with me was the album Riot Act by Pearl Jam. That album, when I first heard it, it absolutely blew me away. Everything about the instrumentation on that album is so experimental for Pearl Jam, and they're my favorite band of all time. I
Yeah,
love
and
them to
I
death.
recall they sound kind of familiar. I think aren't they from Seattle?
A little bit.
Of Seattle.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them.
Some, yeah.
But yeah, so Riot Act, that album to me, it both lyrically and instrumentally, it had everything that I ever could have asked for from an album. It has, tales of depression, tales of political frustration. It just has I think a story for everyone in there, and that to me is also such a big influence on our sound. Just kind of, especially Jason and I, we love this band called Ween, and they just do their own thing. Every album's different, every song is different. They cover every genre you could ever think of, and I think that sort of inspiration to just be able to do anything is something that I really want to tap into. I want to just try to make music in every genre I can. I want to experiment. I want to find what makes, I guess, the musical heart inside of me tick. I want to know what the drive comes from creativity, obviously, being artists, as all musicians are. Just finding new things that inspire you, finding new things that make you want to keep doing what you do. And to me, Riot Act is an album that did that for me.
cool. I don't know. Growing up, my dad showed me a whole lot of like the Eagles, so I had the 2-volume Eagles Greatest Hits CD, like that white one, and then also the Elton John's Greatest Hit CD. It was like the second one that came out, and also Chronicle, the CCR. Growing up, I listened to a lot of Greatest Hits albums, but I just realized that as I'm answering this question.
Not all of them were greatest hits when I was growing up.
Yeah. And then I don't know, when I was younger, I feel weird saying it on camera, but my favorite band of all time was My Chemical Romance. That they literally changed my life because that was the first time I heard of it. It was when Welcome to the Black Parade came out. That was the first time that I heard music and when you hear a song that's like really good and you feel it in your gut. That was like that first time I had that feeling, and then that's when I started thinking music was super cool. So That's probably the most pivotal album of my year was a My Chemical Romance album.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. I'll keep my answer nice and short. I think the first album I really gravitated to was American Idiot by Green Day. And then the album that made me want to be a drummer was Nevermind by Nirvana. Definitely. Dave Grohl is my biggest idol. Or, yes. Yes, he's my biggest idol.
He really is your biggest hero.
He's my hero,
Oh,
for
okay,
sure.
gotcha.
There goes my hero. Yep.
Okay, so you guys have your album out. What are the plans for the rest of the year now that your album's out? Because that was a huge thing. It came out in April.
Mhm.
It's available through SoundCloud. Is it available in any other format?
Oh, definitely.
Spotify, iTunes, okay. And you guys actually have
I think
physical CDs too,
Tidal.
right?
Yeah, we have physical CDs.
Right here.
Yeah. So what's
it's
the
on
plan?
Pandora,
Are you
too.
guys looking to do some more shows or working on some different music or?
We have a
We have
yeah.
lot of music.
Yeah.
Definitely more shows, more interviews. Hopefully, we're working on a lot of music, and our engineer. Is this like a secret? Or can I say? Okay, our engineer that did that album just gave us a compressor and is going to be giving us a board, and that's going to help a lot because we've been recording all of our own stuff, and this is going to take it to the next level because we're like the songs are very unique, very different than what we've done, but like the quality of it just wasn't there yet. So this is hopefully going to push that to the point where we can feel comfortable releasing that, and yeah, very excited to do that. We got some good stuff on the way.
I just want to give a massive shout out to Sean Walker for
Absolutely.
giving us that stuff.
Sean Rocker.
Sean
the
Rocker, yeah.
Over caffeinated chatterbox. He engineered this. He's the man.
Yeah, if you ever need an album engineer, definitely go to him. As far as new music, we have about 6 or 7 songs we know we're going to be going with, and it's just a matter of getting those recorded at the highest quality. Ever since we made this album, our home recordings to me they don't make the cut. Yeah, they don't make the cut anymore. So we're trying to get better at our mixing, engineering skills before we put anything else out. But you'll definitely be seeing singles from us coming real soon. As far as an album, definitely sometime in 2018.
Okay, great. So I know a lot of fans today, especially the younger crowd, they want to connect with artists on a different philanthropic.
Philanthropic. That's a hard word.
Yeah, the charitable.
Yeah.
What do you guys have? Do you guys have causes that you stand behind? Because I know there's a lot of things people are standing behind today, and it's so different for me because my generation was totally different. We like got a party, have a good time.
Yeah.
All we really thought about. But you guys today, you're just such great thinkers, and you're looking at things outside of yourselves. Are there things you guys are standing behind that maybe comes out through your music or that you guys are involved in?
As far as politically, for me personally, not really at all. Like that, I don't want to mix politics and music because I feel like that. I mean, politics divides people in general, so why would you bring that to this art form that brings people together?
That religion's really good at that.
Oh, and I'm not like saying I don't
I
like
get
Rage
that.
Against the Machine.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily
There
agree
are
with
those-
everything he says, but I freaking love Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And
they do it, and they do it well.
And he does say a lot of really cool stuff, but like for me personally, I feel like it's hard, especially in today's times. If you say anything, you're just gonna get like death threats on Facebook. Seriously, like everybody's.
The times have very changed, and it's so hard to sit and talk to people without having somebody get really upset. And
It's hard to have an opinion because if you do, you're wrong.
But we're all humans at the same point, and it's kind of how you learn and grow. And so
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's my take on it, kind of. So.
For me, I consider myself a pretty political person. I have written my own political songs, but those don't normally like get integrated within the band. Those are very much so. It's just kind of for coping for me. It's how I deal with things. Probably gonna get a bunch of groans, but I guess a cause that I stand behind. I personally am vegan, as some people know.
And that's
problem with that.
Yeah.
And there are people groaning all over the world right now as they're listening to this. Like, I know it's a groan, but it's a growing thing.
Yeah.
There are so many metal artists, pop artists that are vegan, and it's the environment. And it's a very huge thing.
Yeah, and for me, another important thing regarding veganism and just sort of regarding, I guess, global social progression, whatever you want to call it, and It's just that there's so much stigma around being so many things. You know, being a certain race, there's stigma. Being a certain religion, stigma. There's just stigma everywhere. People are judging everybody for everything that they can find. So
Um, through my music, I don't really take like a strong political stance, but I'm aware that there's a lot of bad going on and whatever. And I think that the purpose, one of the things that we try to do is just keep things up, like something that you can listen to and feel good. And that's kind of the feedback that I've gotten about the album is that there's a lot of like feel good songs and like especially live and whatever. But there is one song on there that talks about like a lot of the seriousness of the thing. It's called "Here's the Thing." Um, but at the end, it kind of there's a message where we all need to stand together and like I bring it back up basically. So feel good is the message and the cause and good music, good times. What is it?
Fun
Good
times, people, good people, good
good
times, fun
fun
people to be around.
No.
No, fun times, good people to.
Fun times to be around.
Oh,
fun
yeah,
times
that's right.
fun times to be around is our motto.
Fun times.
Paul McCartney and Steve Perry are on the mic and they're just singing their little hearts out. Ray Charles is in the background just going ham on the piano. Eddie Van Halen and Jimmy Page are just taking turns dual guitar soloing against each other, but with each other at the same time, synchronized. And Dave Grohl is on the drums, and sometimes he switches off with Alex Van Halen. He's in there too sometimes. But then randomly in the middle of the show, Kanye West gets up on stage and he snatches the mic from Steve Perry and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you finish, but MF Doom's got to get on stage with me." So then MF Doom, suddenly Paul McCartney is MF Doom, and they're rapping together. Chris Brown comes out and he's dancing, he's singing a little bit, and it is freaking amazing. And then we go on right afterwards and we're like, "What's up, guys? How was that show?" And people don't know how to take it; they're so taken back, but they're still there to see us at the same time. So thank you.
For me, dream lineup definitely Reba McEntire, Barbara Streisand, and Tina Turner. No. It'd be Chicago, 1972, CCR, Allman Brothers, and Steely Dan. Yeah. Yeah, and then somehow we would just anticlimactically close for all of those bands.
all right, so we got Pearl Jam, we have Nirvana, Temple of the Dog. That would be tight.
yeah.
Rest in peace. Rick
yeah.
Parnell.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure. Ween. Let's see, we got Ween, Citizen, Basement, Pine Grove, Turnover. I'm at a loss here. Oh, Chon. That would be tight. Chon, Snarky Puppy.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, all of those good guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
That would be a very large lineup,
Yeah.
Ariel. A very long
We're
show.
going all year.
As I always say, I would love Nickelback and Smash Mouth to open for us. Smash Mouth reunion tour, we would be on that. But for real though, I would want Foo Fighters to open, and then Dave Grohl switch to drums for a Nirvana reunion band, and then we go on after that somehow. The hype does not die down throughout the whole show.
And everybody's super stoked to see us.
But yeah, on a real note though, it is very hard to do lineups with us because of no one. It's really hard to find a band that fits our genre and like the type of music we make. But there's a few local bands we have our eyes on, and we are definitely going to be teaming up with them in the future. You can find our album on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal, Pandora, pretty much anywhere that you can stream. Or ia8.band is our official website. We have the album streaming on there, and we got a lot of other cool stuff on there if you're interested in the band. As far as merch and physical album sales, we're working out our shipping methods right now, but right now if you want to just message us on Facebook or something, Instagram, Twitter, we have all the social media. We will hand deliver those to your door until we get our shipping worked out, which will be real soon.
Yeah, unless you live in like Colorado or something.
Yeah, then.
Oh, you're not. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna drive down there until we get the shipping figured out. That's what I meant by that.
I will though. I'll be there.